Hey fantasy fans, it's Dan here with TreeBeard Book Reviews, and today I'm excited to bring you this review. We're going to be reviewing Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. So excited to talk about Suneater. Let's get into it. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Suneater review, super excited. This is a great book, and I'm so excited to talk about it. Again, if you guys like the channel, you like the content I'm putting out here, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's a free way of helping me out. The channel is really starting to grow now, starting to pick up some momentum. I'm just, really happy with you all guys being here and being a part of this journey with me. And it's just great to hear all your comments, speak to you all in Discord. So, and I hope you're excited to talk about this, because I had a lot of fun conversations in Discord about this book. And I spoke to the author, like Christopher Ruocchio, a lot while I was reading it. And I just want to share my thoughts on the book. So I'm going to kind of do a spoiler-free review of the book, because I want you to read it. Like, I really want you to read it. I don't want to spoil anything for you, and I want you to enjoy it. So let's go break down the plot of Suneater, or The Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. Alright, so the plot starts off, you're introduced to your main character. So let me first preface it, the prologue of this book is unreal. The hook that Christopher Ruocchio gets you with in this section is just prime, where you're meeting the character Hadrian Marlowe. He's kind of doing an autobiography, recanting his life, retelling his life through these records that you're reading. Like, you're reading the record of his life as told by Hadrian. And so he talks about in the prologue, just to kind of hook you, that, I killed a son. I destroyed a son in my lifetime for my cause. And I'm not going to tell you about it now, but if you want to figure it out, you need to listen. So, super good hook. So what I would compare this book to, guys, it's a very familiar format, very friendly format. It's really a mix of Dune meets Farseer. So and I'll explain that. So Dune, because it's very kind of familiar, space opera, technologically driven, but there's a lot of control on the technology. And a lot of very similar technology that you see in Dune. Very similar storytelling style, in the sense that it's still first-person omniscient. Like, you're only in Hadrian's head. But, it's that same type of a feeling, the same vibe you get when you're reading Dune, I felt. And it's like Farseer, like by Robin Hobb, but because it's autobiographical. So, like in Assassin's Apprentice, it's Fitz telling his story. This is what it is. It's Hadrian telling his story, and there's some brilliant moments in this book where older Hadrian kind of jumps in at a point, and this happens usually around the end of the chapter, or kind of like at a point like where there's a peak, and he'll say, "Oh, this was going to happen, but something else didn't. This didn't happen. Something else happened," or he'll kind of reminisce on it. So, that part is just chef's kiss. The way Christopher Ruocchio writes in this book, stunning. It's absolutely a masterful writing. And it's masterful writing, and it's masterful to read as a reader. You're just reading it and you're just blown away with this guy's world. So anyways, let's get on with the plot. Alright, so you're learning about Hadrian Marlowe's life. So he's telling you about his family history, his Palatine history, how he was, genetically modified from his parents' genes to be a perfect, perfect human in a sense. So, and he's had all the upbringings of, a rich, lord. He's had combat training. He's had education from, this wonderful mentor called Gibson, Tor Gibson. And, he's really kind of, he is the heir to the Marlowe throne eventually. So his father it's not really a throne. He's like a lord in this big sprawling galaxy. So it's what Hadrian lives in is he lives in the Solan Empire. So his father is a big owner. He owns a lot of uranium mines in the Solan Empire, and Hadrian is would eventually be the one to inherit this this empire, not this empire, but this his father's kingdom after his father passes away, and he is the presumptive heir. But eventually, something happens where the course of Hadrian's future that he thought changes, and Hadrian has to adapt. And Hadrian is going to go on an adventure that he did not expect, did not plan for, and it's going to change the course of his life and the lives of everyone in this, galaxy. So, or yeah, I guess it is the galaxy. So there's a lot of things going on here. It's really political, like Dune. So, you have this house Marlowe, that is like a prominent house. It's a rising house, kind of like House Atreides, but it's not really a threat to the Solan Emperor. You see them as a boon. And so Hadrian's parents, his father and then his mother. His mother's so his grandmother, she's like the leader of one of the sector that they're in. So very prominent family, very powerful family, a lot of expectations, a lot of power dynamics, and so many things are kind of going on. Okay, so there's a lot of factions going on in this book. So you have like the Solarians, the Solan Empire that Hadrian's family belongs to, which is ruled by an emperor. And then you have the Extra Solarians. So they're just kind of like outside the empire, beyond that their control. They're just the power of the empire just hasn't spread that far yet, and they're kind of bucking from empire control. You have the Cielcin, which are like this alien race, the kind of humanoid-looking race, but they're kind of described as like white devils because they're like long, tall, and skinny with like pale skin and these horns and this white like alabaster hair. Very interesting characters, and they've been in like a 3-century-long war with humanity now. And the Cielcin are kind of like nomads where they travel. They don't have like their own home planet that they talk about. They're just like they're traveling through space, kind of raiding human settlements and taking the technology from the humans. And then the last faction, which is a religious faction, is the Chantry. So they're kind of like worshippers of old Earth. And they have like this stranglehold, like this grip on like technology and how technology is kind of divvied out in this society where if you're wealthy and powerful and you have money, you have access to technology and you can travel from planet to planet. But if you're poor, like you have no access. Like essentially some of these places were almost like ancient in their ability to have, just have technology. Like there's a planet that Hadrian's on eventually in the book where it's almost like, a backwater Roman, like, it's like city-state where, it's got all the trappings of like the Solan Empire, but, they're still beleaguered by plague. There's a lot of like political machinations moving on. They're still having to pay tribute to like the leaders there. And they're still doing like blood sports, and there's like a coliseum, and then there's a circus. So it's still like, it's even this height of humanity, this height of human technology, but they're still like almost very primitive. If you like, kind of Roman or Greek history, you will love this book. And this is why I love this book, because I'm a classics major by training. I did my degree in ancient history, so I super appreciate Christopher Ruocchio's work here. His Latin was like spot on. I was reading his Latin. I'm like, yeah, he knows Latin. This guy knows Latin. Very good. Just some of the names he dropped, there's like he's like, oh, there's a sword of Damocles hanging over this character, and you're just like, oh, he references so many things in ancient history, and this feels like the Roman Empire reborn, just in this space age, and Hadrian, his name Hadrian, he was one of the there's the 5 good emperors of Rome. Hadrian was the third, Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian. So how it worked in this stage of history, I'm going to give you a history lesson here. So this is the stage of the empire, of the Roman Empire. That was the height of the Roman Empire's power, where it was not a succession of birth, but a succession of choosing. So Nerva chose Trajan to be his successor. Trajan chose Hadrian, and then Hadrian chose Antoninus Pius, and then eventually Antoninus Pius chose Marcus Aurelius to be the emperor. And then it went to crap because then Marcus Aurelius said, oh, my son Commodus will be emperor. And we know how that went if you've watched Gladiator, even though that's not really history. But anyways, I digress. Again, Christopher Ruocchio blends beautifully this ancient myth, sci-fi, fantasy. So if these are all things you like, you will dig this book. Like there's stuff with the Colosseum in it. There's fighting. There's like romance. And it's not overdone romance. It's done very cleverly, and this guy just gut punches you with the emotion and the life of Hadrian Marlowe. And like the thing is, you realize Hadrian Marlowe has a long life. This is the first 25 years of his life, and you'll find out how old Hadrian is when he has his moments where he pops in and he kind of gives a brief little not history lesson, but kind of gives a little bit more context of what's kind of going on. And I really appreciate that. And you just realize like this guy has an amazing life, and I just want to know. And Christopher Ruocchio has just opened up this amazing world with this character where he can just do anything. So yeah, it's Hadrian. He's actually a really tragic character in a sense that he has this upbringing. He's going to go on this adventure, but it's a very cold upbringing. It's like I said again, like Dune, where where Paul Atreides is loved by his family, and it's just not here for Hadrian. So that's a little bit of a spoiler, but again, it's just to kind of preface you for this world. Again, like if you like sci-fi, if you're a fantasy reader and you want to kind of bridge that gap into getting into sci-fi, like I've really been getting into sci-fi lately, because I just been watching a lot of sci-fi booktubers and picking up some sci-fi books and just enjoying the crap out of them. And this is honestly a perfect bridge book if you want to get into sci-fi. I know it's big, I know it's thick, but this book is a lot like a Sanderson book or a lot like Way of Kings, where it's a big book in a small package, in a sense that I read this book in like 4 or 5 days. It's like 700-800 pages. And I flew through it, guys. So it's a big book, but it doesn't feel like a big book. Like, don't get me wrong, there are moments where we'll slow down, but it's all for this greater narrative that Christopher Ruocchio is trying to tell. So let me get on to my rating now, guys. This is the first book in the series, and it's already got me hooked. I'm reading the Howling Dark in February. Just such a fascinating book, such a fascinating writer, like younger guy, really kind of coming into his own as a writer, prolific as heck, this writer, beautiful writer, a lot of knowledge. I give it a 4 on Goodreads, but it's actually really like a 4.5, so like right in the middle of the tier. Just a great book, guys, like honestly. And I think if I come back to a reread of this, like after reading like more of Howling Dark and like Demon in White and then eventually Kingdoms of Death, I could see it getting higher, just because I just love being in this world with Hadrian, love being in his POV, seeing what he's going through. It's like, it's just a perfect blend of like riches to rags to, adventure in a sense, essentially. Again, cannot wait to just read more of this author. I really want to pick up the short stories like Lesser Devil, just because they're great. I'm trying to find a hardcover of this too. So hard to find. Like I've seen them on like, thrift books for like $140 or Abe books for like $200. I'm like, jeez, it's trying to break my bank account. I'm sure I'll find it, hopefully, thrifting one day. But or they, guys just buy Christopher Ruocchio's book, so this takes off and they can reprint it in hardcover so I can buy it. But again, yeah, guys, I know I say stunning book a lot. Maybe that would be my tagline. But honestly, guys, you would do yourself a disservice not to pick this up. If you like Dune, you like that autobiographical storytelling, you like that first person, you like sci-fi, you like fantasy, you like ancient history, it's all here. It's all here. And it's just this beautiful space opera that just kind of culminates. And it ends in a really natural point. Like, this is one thing I'll say, like, it ends like the first book in a series, but it reaches a natural stopping point. We're just like, whew, I can't wait for more. So I won't say any more, guys. Check it out. Hit me up in the Discord if you're reading Suneater and, you enjoyed this review, hopefully. And thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.